Assalamualaikum semuanya. Ini lagi bersama Isni and welcome back to Friday Right There with me, where we will be uploading research and writing every Friday. So, isa ka bang estudyante na hindi alam kung saan magsa-start sa iyong thesis? Or an aspiring researcher na hindi alam kung ano yung gagawin sa research? Or are you just a simple person na gusto mo lang malaman kung ano yung research? Then don't worry because this channel is for you. So, I think wag na nating patagalin yung introductory speech and let's dive into the discussion. So, last Friday, nirelease natin yung episode 1 where we talked about what is research. We also talked about the bakit kailangan nating mag-research. Well, where in fact, meron naman na palang research na ina-establish. And we also talked about the purpose of research. So, kung hindi nyo pa yun na panood, please refer to the first episode that we published in our Facebook page, is Me EP, and also in our YouTube channel. Okay, so in this discussion, magfo-focus tayo on 2 parts. Okay, so i-divide natin yung discussion natin into 2 parts. So the first part is we are gonna discuss ano yung reason bakit kailangan alam natin yung different kinds of research writing. Yung pangalawang part naman is we're gonna discuss one by one the different kinds of academic paper. Okay, so for the first part, bakit ba kailangan alam natin yung iba't ibang klase ng research writing? So first of all is because as a student, it is our responsibility and our duty to know different kinds of research. So, na-experience nyo na ba na pinapagawa kayo ng professor nyo or ng teacher nyo ng essay paper or report paper or review paper or term paper? So, that's one of the reasons kung bakit. It is our duty and our responsibility as a student to know how to write a research. So, ang pangalawang reason is because academic writing is broad and extends from classroom activities to other elements in the society. So meaning, ang research is not only restricted to classroom setup. So let me give you an example for that. Di ba na-mention ko sa inyo na I am a youth advocate? So yung organization na hawak ko ngayon in local area, the Government Watch Philippines, is actually an action research organization. So what do we mean by action research organization? Our work revolves around the method of action research. So lahat ng ginagawa namin, monitoring to publishing our research, is based around action research methodology. Yun yung source ng income ko. And I'm not even in classroom setup. I am just doing my work and I'm gaining money from it. So I'm using research as the basis of my monthly salary. Another reason is because academic writing and any types of writing or research writing has a system. So, di ba, sa science is a systematized body of knowledge, blah, 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 blah. And sa research naman, hindi ka makakasulat ng isang research kung hindi mo alam yung system ng pagsusulat ng research. So, we also have to know the different kinds of system in a research paper. So, for example, gusto kong mag-research about how many students tend to use cell phone in classroom setup. So, ang gagamitin ko ay qualitative method of research. Hindi yun pwede kasi hindi ko makukuha yung answer sa question ko na how many students. So, it should be quantitative. Okay? So, we have to know those certain kinds of system in doing research. So, for the part 2, Actually, itong different kinds of research paper ay 6 lang yung pinili ko. So, ano ba yung basis bakit pinili ko itong 6 na research paper? Itong 6 na research paper ay napaka-importante sa estudyante from junior high, senior high, college, master's to PhD level. So, ito yung napaka-rampant and well-known na research paper or academic paper na nire-require ng mga universities or ng professor. Ano ba itong 6 na academic paper na pinili natin? First is essay paper, thesis, dissertation, review paper, case study paper, and term paper. So, unahin natin si essay paper. So, the meaning of essay is an analytical or interpretive literary composition usually dealing with its subject from a limited or personal point of view. So, kung titingnan natin, there's a keyword sa essay. Okay? Essay is actually the personal point of view ng nagsulat. One characteristic that we have to remember in essay writing is it tends to defend a position or opinion that is put forth by the author. For example, I want to write an essay about morality in the contemporary society. And ito yung gusto kong i-defend sa essay ko. That morality is the scientific aspect of religion. So, you would think na ano daw? Yun yung gusto mong i-defend. How are you gonna defend that? So, that's what you are going to write in the essay. The second classification of academic paper is term paper. So, term paper means a research paper required at the end of the school semester. It tracks and evaluates students' knowledge about the course. So, in that case, if we put the characteristic of term paper into words, term paper is actually an academic research paper. But the intention of that paper is to assess, evaluate, and track down the status of knowledge ng isang estudyante within that course or semester. So, let me give you an example. For example, may isa akong subject sa politics na about Islamic philosophy. So, we were given a task to write a term paper in regards to any subject within that coursework. So, ang pinili ko is ano yung insights or point of view ng Islam in regards to democracy. So, I will write a term paper about that. So, it will assess my knowledge of democracy based on the course or semester that we had. So, the third classification of academic research paper is thesis. So, alam ko guys na this is the most well-known academic research paper kasi hindi ka makagraduate kung walang thesis, di ba? So, thesis means a statement or a theory that is put forward as a premise to be maintained or proved. So, usually, thesis ay ginagawa just to have the intention to graduate, as what we have said in the previous episode. So, kaya nga siya tinawag na thesis is because kailangan may premise ka, kailangan may theory ka, kailangan may assumption ka on a certain topic that you want to prove as your thesis progress. Okay? So, sa thesis, kailangan sa thesis ay may sarili kang assumption or theory that you want to prove. Okay, so number 4 is dissertation. So dissertation means a long piece of academic writing based on original research. So in simpler term, dissertation is pretty much a academic research paper, but it is ang basis ng dissertation kasi is original paper, from an original paper. So usually dissertation is quoted only for PhD level of academic studies. Pero kung pupunta ka sa ibang bansa, for example, the UK, correct me if I'm wrong, for those people na nag-aral sa UK, in UK, you can see some bachelor degree students who are quoting dissertation as the academic written paper na ginagawa nila. So they also use dissertation for bachelor and masters. I know most of you guys would ask, ano ba yung pagkakaiba ni thesis at saka ni dissertation, diba? So, in the Philippines, we usually quote dissertation as PhD type of academic research. And thesis is equivalent to bachelor and masters. Pero, here's the difference talaga. Ang pagkakaiba nila is the assumption or theory type. Meaning, in thesis, walang mangyayaring thesis kung walang theory and assumption na gusto mong i-prove. Well, in fact, sa dissertation, as what researchcore.com said, the prospectus of a dissertation is simply a writing format and layout that does not have a convincing argument on the acceptability and the real authenticity of the research approach. So, sa dissertation po, it does not necessarily have to have a premise or assumption that you want to prove. Though, if titingnan natin sa mga universities here in the Philippines and other countries, dissertation has to have a thesis, assumption, theory that it needs to be proved sa research paper. So for the number 5, review paper. So review paper is sometimes called literature review or secondary source, synthesize or analyze research already conducted in primary sources. So I don't know guys if most of you are familiar with call for abstract paper, call for research paper ng mga universities. They usually conduct this usually sa mga high standard universities. This is being conducted. Those call for paper abstract are usually literature review. So they are called the review paper. Actually, napaka-interesting nito kasi, so for example, Mr. X reviewed a primary book. Itong primary book na to is The Diary of Anne Frank. Nagsulat ng research si Mr. X for many years about Anne Frank's diary. And then, eto na naman ako na inatasan ng teacher na gumawa ng review paper in regards to any classical book, and I chose Anne Frank. I will be reviewing the research paper of Mr. X. Okay? So, hindi directly the book of Anne Frank, but the research of Mr. X. For the last classification of academic research paper is the case study paper. So actually guys, this is the most simple research paper out there. Pero hindi dahil simple lang siya, ay babasta-bastahin na lang natin. Case study paper requires a lot of deeper perspective and analysis. Sometimes, si case study paper ay pwede siyang makonsider na primary source. Case study paper is a research paper that tends to see and investigate the phenomenon in its real-life context. Tinatry mong i-research yung certain phenomenon, certain person, certain time, or certain place in its present context. So for example, I want to study the effect of TikTok to the Gen Z. Okay? So how do I do that? I will identify a certain respondent. For example, one person case study ang tawag sa isang respondent lang. And then, if I want to switch to a group respondent, yung respondent ko ay group, I will tend to see their behavior for many days, minsan weeks, minsan months, minsan year. I will research the effect of TikTok in their life for a short or long period of time. So, it requires a lot of analysis, guys. Kasi you are trying to study that certain person, that certain phenomenon, that certain time, in its present context. To wrap up everything that we have discussed, we must know different kinds of research because it is our responsibility as a student. Another thing is because it can be beneficial and useful for us outside the school premises. And lastly, research is systematized, which means that we have to know the system. Okay? So, we also talked about the 6 kinds of academic research. We have the essay paper, term paper, thesis, dissertation, review paper, and case study paper. Kung nagustuhan nyo itong video na ito and it has been beneficial for you, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, Me EP, and also follow this Facebook page para may inspiration tayo to move further with our discussion. Alhamdulillah, maybe in the next Friday, we are going to focus on only one academic research writing, and that is thesis. So, I told you last Friday na I will be starting thesis discussion today, pero I was not able to kasi kailangan alam natin yung iba't ibang klase ng research or academic research paper. So, inshallah, in the next Friday, we will focus on thesis, ano yung parts ng thesis, and then siguro we're gonna give different examples of thesis na na-establish na so that may solid understanding kayo of what it is and paano ginagawa yung parts niya. And I hope to see you next Friday, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.